Hello and welcome back to the Starseed Coalition. I am your host, Katie, and I'm so excited to be back here for another week with you guys. Happy Libra season. The sun has officially moved into Libra. Virgo season has ended, but we are fresh off of the tail of our new moon in Virgo and partial solar eclipse that happened on Sunday, September 21st. Now, the bulk of the eclipse season is over. So if that is good news to you, amazing. If you're like, wait, I didn't get everything out of eclipse season that I was hoping for, hold your horses, okay? Because this eclipse was a new moon, we have actually started this energy for the moon cycle ahead. So it kind of depends on who you ask, but I think the bulk of the eclipse portal and the energy surrounding the eclipse was kind of in the August to September range, especially September. But we are going to be feeling the effects of these eclipses. And in particular, this new moon eclipse that we just had in Virgo for the rest of this moon cycle, which ends on October 21st, which is when we'll have our next new moon. So, this energy will keep trickling into our lives. It's going to shift a little bit because it's going to have more of a Libra sort of flavor to it. Libra is an air sign. Libra is all about finding balance and harmony and peace and relationships. The ruling planet for Libra is Venus. It's very much love and what feels good to you. And I think we're going to see a lot of those themes being woven over this moon cycle and throughout Libra season. And we may hear things getting louder in the short term, things that are out of balance. So Libra wants us to be in balance, in harmony. And in order to do that, it's going to point out the things that are out of balance. So you might have had some illuminating clarity come through with this eclipse. You might have been pointed in a specific direction. And now it's time to sort of do the hard work and cut out the things that aren't serving us and really go towards what is serving us. And that leads us to today's episode, the art of surrendering. Now, I've been saying this, if there's ever a time to surrender, it is during an eclipse season, and it's not too late. We are still very much in the throes of the eclipse energy. There's still lots of magic that can happen. And also, this is like where the work gets done, Like the eclipse kind of comes in and says, okay, this is your path. This is where you're meant to go. This is the new direction that we want to set you on. And then you have to do the work in order for it to really show up in your life. And, I talk about surrendering a lot. I feel like a lot of spiritual people talk about surrendering a lot. And it can almost sort of feel like this spiritual buzzword that doesn't really have a lot of weight to it if you just hear it all the time. But when you're actually face to face with something in your life that is really near and dear to your heart, maybe it's very important to you for a number of reasons, and you're actually faced with surrendering that thing over to the universe, it is so much easier said than done, and it can be quite painful, quite difficult, quite scary. And I'm glad that I'm feeling called to record this episode in this time because I feel like I'm right in the thick of really being called to let go of something and to give it over to the universe. So it doesn't mean that I don't want this thing, that I don't, you know, foresee this thing being in my life. It's just that the way that I'm going about it isn't working. And it's kind of refreshing and beautiful when it comes down to it to be like, okay, this isn't working. What have I got to lose? Let's switch things up. Let's just give it over to the universe. So I wanted to talk about the actual mechanics of surrendering today. And I'm going to ask you to do something difficult, which is to think of an area of your life that isn't going the way that you want it to go. I feel like most people, and especially if I'm thinking back over the course of my life, there's always like at least one thing. Maybe there's a lot of things, but there's always at least one thing that is just like a thorn in your side that takes up so much of your brain space throughout the day, that you want to make work so desperately. You want to either shift it or change it or have it, or it's just whatever it is, whatever your current situation is, it's not how you want it to be. And it's very frustrating. And no matter what you do, it won't change. And so I want you to identify the one area of your life. Maybe there's more, but for the sake of this podcast, identify one area of your life that is just like takes up so much mental energy. You care about it a lot. You want this thing to go a specific way. And no matter what you do, it's just not budging. Now, some examples might be maybe you have a difficult relationship with someone. Could be a family member, could be like a literal relationship that you're in, could be a friendship where you're just not seeing eye to eye. It's incredibly frustrating. This could be that you are single and you want to find a partner, and no matter how hard you try, no matter how many dates you go on, you're just not meeting the right person. It could be wanting to start a family and running into fertility issues, which I can only imagine how incredibly stressful that must be. It could be feeling unfulfilled in your career, but not seeing a way out, not knowing what your purpose is, not knowing what your path is, feeling stuck. No matter what you do, you can't figure it out. Maybe it's health issues. Maybe it is, just you want to feel better, but every day you wake up with some pain or ache, and no matter how many doctors you see, there's just no solution, or the solutions aren't working, or no one is listening. And I'll get vulnerable with you guys and share mine specifically, because I'm going to take us through sort of the art of how I'm going to surrender, and maybe this can help you as well. For me, this is money. And it's hard for me to even say that, because I want to have the air of being successful, and also the air of like, I'm a spiritual person, so money doesn't matter and it's okay. And, I'm just doing what I'm called to do and the rest will fall into place. That has not been my experience. I very much, even though I am very spiritual, my path is very spiritual, and what I all feel called to is very spiritual. I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm also a businesswoman. And I have this drive within me. My midheaven is conjunct my sun in my 10th house, which is the house of career, which is pretty rare to have your midheaven conjunct your sun. And when that happens, your career is like your baby. And you have this drive to succeed, no matter how much you try and tell yourself that you are a human being, not a human doing, and you don't have to do all these things. You don't have to prove yourself, and you don't have to make a certain amount of money to be successful. Like, so far, all of my attempts to tell myself that have fallen on deaf ears, because I'm like, yeah, but and I also like feel in my bones that I am meant to be a wealthy person. And so to have my reality not match that, and to feel like I am following my purpose and doing everything that the universe is like setting out for me to do, and now I have this baby on the way and it's so much pressure. And granted, I'm like doing fine, it's just that I'm not where I want to be. And I have this like number in my mind that would be where I want to be, and it's not there. And no matter what I do, I can't get it there. I've gotten close a few times, but I can't get it there. And so this has become so loud for me. And over the weekend, it became very clear to me that I no longer have space in my brain, in my energy, in my body as I'm creating this baby, to be focused on this, to be hyper focused on this. And, coming right off of the heels of Virgo season and me being a Virgo rising, if you have heavy Mercury in your chart, Virgo especially, it is not uncommon to like get yourself into what I would call mental prison of cycling of thoughts, of hyperfixation of, well, maybe if I just do this and if I adjust that. And it just takes away all the joy from something. And like this work lights me up, it fills me up. And so to have it be so tied to something that, doesn't really feel like it's moving the needle in the way that I want it to, gets in the way of my creativity and my downloads. And so I finally have just gotten to this place where I'm like, I gotta let go of how I'm meant to come into money, have money be in my life, be a wealthy person. Like, I know what my mission is. I know what I'm here to do. I know the types of individuals I'm here to influence. I just have to focus on that and surrender this need to succeed over to the universe. I'm recording this on a Monday, comes out on a Wednesday, but I'm recording this on a Monday. And I could feel all weekend this back and forth tug of the universe and my soul saying, it's time to let go of this. It's time to let go of this weight. And my ego saying, no, I can't do it. No, I can't. Because what if I slide backwards? What if it doesn't happen? What if? And meanwhile, I'm like, it's like this vision. I can see myself like clinging to a bar, and my soul and the universe are kind of like helping me remove my fingers from the bar. And then my ego grips back on really hard. And it's funny, right before I started this podcast, I received a email from someone who has an astrology podcast. I subscribe to their newsletter, and it says, Katie, are you gripping too tightly to something right now? And it's just like their email list. But I was like, that is so friggin' funny that I'm literally gripping to this thing, trying to let go of it. And this is the email that I get right before I'm about to record, talking about letting go of this. So I'm going to do my best to try and speak about this in a way that could be universal, not just to my experience, but to whatever it is that you are meant to be surrendering in this moment right now. But I really think that it takes a full 360 mind, body, spirit, grounded, active approach in order to let go of this. When you care about something so deeply, when something feels so intrinsic to your soul, and you are asked to let go of it, it is so much easier said than done, and so much harder than just saying, oh, surrender. Oh, go ahead. So for my people who are having trouble letting go, like me, and I feel like a lot of people have one area of their life where they're like, yeah, I'll surrender everywhere else, but don't make me surrender that. Don't make me let go of that. But I think one of the things that was the most motivating for me to let go of this, and that I think approaches this from a mental standpoint when we talk about mental, physical, and spiritual, how we're going to approach surrendering. Because it has to be logical to me in order to do it, right? So, logically, the argument that is working for me mentally is that what I'm currently doing isn't working. Like, not only am I not seeing the results that I want to see, focusing my energy on this issue makes me feel drained, makes me feel uninspired, makes me feel stressed, makes me feel like I am losing life force energy, like downloads can't come through, like I am in a mental prison and there is just this chatter going on and it's so loud and it's getting louder. So the option of continuing on how I've been going really isn't all that appealing in any way, shape, or form. Because not only is it not fun, not only is it causing all of these different like feelings and anxiety and sensations, it's also not giving me the results that I want. And in whatever area of your life you're thinking of for you, it's like you might as well take a chance and let go and surrender this to the universe, at least for a specific period of time that you and your guides, come to and agree on. Because the alternative is that things just stay exactly how they are. And you don't want that. You want things to change. You want this thing to move forward. And what you are currently doing is not working. And so I don't want to say a specific timeline to give yourself and your guides in order to turn this around. I feel like it's more of an intuitive thing that feels right to you. But I would encourage you to come up with a literal timeline and have a moon cycle be the absolute minimum. One moon cycle. If you want to do it till October 21st when we have our next new moon, that's your prerogative. I'm going to try and do it for longer than that, but it's totally up to you what feels right for you. And you can always say, I'm going to try this till the next moon cycle. I'm going to reevaluate then. And then maybe I'll continue to surrender. Maybe I will hang back onto the bar if I don't get the results that I'm looking for. You can bargain with the universe. You totally can. It doesn't always turn out the way that you want, but you can do that. A lot of times, if I am trying something new, I will say to the universe, okay, I'm going to try this. I'm going to put myself out there and do this, but you have to show me if this is what I'm meant to do. You got to give me some sort of external sign if this is what I'm meant to do. And then if I don't get a sign, I listen and I say, okay, I guess that's not what I was meant to do. Which is a hard pill to swallow if you feel like that was what was meant to be your next step. But like, you can work out what your relationship with your team, your guides, the universe will be. So you could say to them, okay, I'm going to try it your way until October 21st. I'm going to fully let go of the bar. And this is me saying that every time I find myself wanting to fixate on this thing for the next moon cycle or control it or put any sort of mental energy towards it over the next month, when that comes up, you have permission, universe, to remind me that I said I wasn't going to touch this for the next month, that I was going to just surrender to whatever your plan was, and maybe make a list of things that you can do instead. We'll get into this in the physical in a second, to fill your time. when you feel the urge to sort of jump back into this thing that you said you were going to surrender for the next month. And I'm just saying month because that feels like the bare minimum amount of time to give the universe. But if you can do it for longer than that, if you can do it for the rest of the year, that's amazing. But I understand if what you have to give in this moment is that you can surrender for the next moon cycle, beautiful. Talk to your team, talk to your guides, tell them that that's what you're going to do. And then you can reevaluate with the new moon in Libra and see if it's serving you or if it isn't. And I think you'll find that by the time we get to the new moon in Libra on October 21st, even if this issue isn't like fully resolved by then, that your quality of life will be in a place that is so much more robust and beautiful and full that you won't want to go back to how you were doing things before. So that's the mental piece, which kind of we started touching on the physical, and the physical is twofold. So for me personally, I did a sort of releasing walk ritual, so basic, that I'm going to tell you guys about as a physical representation of me letting this thing go. Yours can be different. Yours does not have to be a walk. Yours could be a bath. Yours could be a journaling session. Yours could be staring at the night sky, looking at the clouds, whatever you want it to be. But for me, I just felt really called to go on a walk towards the river. And I didn't even really know that this is what I was doing when I started my walk. I was just like, oh, I feel like going for a walk today. It's a nice, beautiful fall day. But as I started walking, I realized, oh, I am physically releasing this burden, this weight, this obstacle over to the universe on this walk. And when I walk back in my house, I will no longer have the physical weight of this weighing me down. And the whole walk, I kept sort of having these visions of, I just let my mind wander. I wasn't too specific about it, but I wanted to set the intention of like, okay, on this walk, because this is what's coming to me, I'm going to be releasing this burden of this hyperfixation on income and success as I'm going on this walk. And I release it up to you, universe. I release it up to you, to the cosmos, to my dad, who I feel like is, my number one guide on the other side. And he's also a Libra rising. So it makes sense that this is happening during his season. But I really felt like I was walking hand in hand with him, and there were all these other people out on a walk too. It was around lunchtime. It's a beautiful fall day. And it just made me feel, it made me feel very connected to everyone else who was out there, but also made me feel small in a beautifully universal, significant way. Like, my problems are not the only problems that exist. Everyone that is going on a walk right now is, out here for a certain reason, whether that's mental health, physical health, getting their dog out, walking with a friend, and they have their own full lives and their own, issues and obstacles and triumphs that they are overcoming. And it made me feel really small in a beautiful way of like, my issue really isn't that big. It's not as big as it feels when I'm stuck in the house and I'm hyper fixated on all this stuff. When I get out and I see the world and I see the people, I can feel that it's not that big. But at the same time, I also felt very divinely held and protected, because I was like, the universe works in such divine, beautiful, perfect ways. And I truly believe that each of us is on a path where we are learning and growing and going through the exact challenges that we need at any given time, that is meant for our soul's growth and evolution on this planet and in this lifetime. And so if I believe that, then of course I'm going to surrender. Of course I'm going to give this up. Of course this is exactly what I'm meant to be going through in this moment. And I am held and protected, and all of these people that are walking are held and protected in their obstacles. And no matter how big they are, they're going to get through them too. As I got to the river, I kind of felt the releasing energy become more and more strong. And I just sort of walked out onto this rock that was kind of overlooking the river, put my hand in the water, and just said, I release it all to you. My career, my success, my income, I give it all to you. And it's going to sound kind of silly, but like I got emotional because my career means that so much to me, and my success means so much to me. And I've been holding on to it so tightly for so long. And it's this like beautiful moment of release, of like physically here, water, river, universe, take this from me, take it. And it doesn't mean that I'm suddenly stopping my career, that I'm stopping the things that I'm doing. No, if anything, it just means I now have the dedicated energy that I need to like pour more light into what I'm doing, pour more love. And I said, like, this is all in my head. I'm not like talking out loud, but you could talk out loud if you want to, if that serves you. But, I said to the universe, all I want to do is be a channel. All I want to do is make an impact, make a difference, and be a clear channel for what it is that you want me to say and deliver to a certain collective of people. And if you can take this burden, this earthly burden of, career, success, income, if you can take that from me so I can just focus on being a channel and the other areas of my life as well, like, thank you for that beautiful gift. Thank you. Like, how stunning is that they are guiding me to give this to them so that I don't have to worry about it anymore. And I can focus on bigger picture, bigger impact things while they handle that. And as I was walking back, I kind of like felt this buzz in my pocket, and I didn't look at it until I got home, but it was like, multiple things happened while I was gone, one of which was totally unexpected. Someone literally sent me belated birthday money as like a gift that I was not expecting at all. My birthday was in June. And I was like, that is so random timing, but also divine timing. And the universe saying, see, here you go. We told you we'd take care of it. Like, obviously, that is not going to sustain me for life. But when the universe like gives you little signs like that you're doing the right thing, you're working on the right thing, you're putting your energy in the right place, and it gives you that little blessing, that little reward right away to keep you going, like, you gotta acknowledge that and say thank you. I say that really helps, and show gratitude to that person if it's a person that, initiated that. And this person has no idea that I just went on a walk to release this burden into the river and have this spiritual moment. But the universe tapped him on the shoulder and said, like, this would be a beautiful time to send that if you still plan on sending that. And then he did, which was incredible. So that's part of the physical. I would encourage you to have some sort of physical ceremony. Could be big and intricate, could be small and simple. To me, I like the simple things. I don't overthink it. I just go with whatever my mind wants to do. But I would encourage you to do some sort of physical representation of you surrendering this thing, because it is big. This is big. This is big work. This is hard. And so give yourself a physical outlet to do this. The other thing that comes with physical that I wanted to mention is then having other things to fill your time when you inevitably want to go back to fixating on this thing. So You know your habits that are fixating. Maybe you go to a certain social media app, maybe it's a bank account, maybe it's re-looking at text messages from someone, playing old voice notes. You know what you do when you're ruminating, when you're fixating, what you're checking, what you're doing, what you're thinking. This next month, or however long you're giving your guides that you're agreeing to surrender this, you don't have to. I would encourage you to have a list of go to things that you can do that are positive, that fill you up when you want to fixate, when you want to grab back onto that bar. So maybe it's going on a walk. Maybe it's taking a bath. Maybe it's stargazing if it's at night. Can you tell that those are 3 things that I love doing because I mention them all the time? Maybe it's painting. Maybe it's calling a friend. Maybe it's baking. Maybe it's cooking. Maybe it's spending time with your dogs. It's going to be different and unique to everyone's path. It's got to be what feels good to you. And it doesn't have to be crazy exciting. It can literally be, I am going to go put on some great smelling lotion in this moment, or I am going to light a candle instead of opening these 5 apps. But I would encourage you to have a list of things written out on your phone or on a piece of paper that you can go to that can physically fill the space of this void. Because, and I'm not saying that like always filling the space is a good thing. I think being comfortable with the void and being comfortable with nothingness is important. But when you are trying to break a cycle of hyper fixating on something, it's important to have a backup thing to take your mind off of it. Because if you don't, then guess what? You're going to sit there and you're going to think about the fact that you're not checking the things. Like you're just going to be hyper fixating on it mentally instead of having a physical habit that you are doing. So make sure they're things that fill your soul anyways. Make sure they're things that fill you up. But for me, part of what like I was thinking about as I was coming back from this walk was like, wow, now I get to fucking live my life. Like, let me make plans. Let me do this. Let me try that. I've been putting this off because I'm so mentally focused over here. And now that that weight is gone, oh my God, what am I going to fill my time with? This is so exciting. I have so much more like energy and time to give to actually living my life and putting myself out there when I'm not going to be drained by this thing that just keeps pulling me down. So that is how I would encourage you to surrender physically. And last but certainly not least is how to surrender spiritually. Now, all of this is sort of spiritual. All of this is talking to your guides and the universe or God or source or, you know, whoever, whatever it is that you are connecting with on the other side. But I do think it's beautiful to have like a specific, sort of like how we have a specific physical representation of letting go, having a specific spiritual moment of letting this go. So this could look like a meditation. This could look like a spiritual bath. This could look like pulling some oracle cards. It could look like literally pouring yourself a cup of tea, pouring one of your guides a cup of tea, sitting across from them, having a conversation with them, whatever that may be to you. For me personally, I am creating a meditation and activation. All of my meditations are kind of also activations, starseed activations, in order to let this go. So that will be posted in my Starseed Coalition Patreon group that's available right now. If it sings to your soul, this does not have to be your version of spiritual, but I'm going to create this for that group and then I'm going to listen to it myself so that I can just tune out and allow my spirit and my soul to do the work because I need this on a soul level. Yes, I got to get my human and ego self on board, but I want my soul to be what is carrying me forward in this time. So for me personally, I'm creating a meditation activation where we do some visualizations. We literally connect with our higher self, our soul, and allow ourselves to fully surrender and let go of this thing in the spiritual realm as well. Again, if that sings to your soul, you can find the information for the Starseed Coalition membership in the show notes. But it doesn't have to be. It can be whatever you want it to be, whatever feels right and most spiritually connected for you. And I think that's the beautiful thing about this space and this podcast is, we're all walking different paths, and sometimes they overlap more than others. And sometimes you have a totally different idea that is also stunning and beautiful and very effective. So trust whatever it is that your intuition is guiding you to do. But I would encourage you to also have a spiritual representation of surrendering whatever it is this is to the universe. This is really powerful work. This is very difficult work. I've said this before, and I will definitely say it again. As humans, we always want to see, physical change in our life, a physical representation of the work that we're doing. But as star seeds, we came here to evolve our souls and also to evolve this planet. And so we cannot underestimate the internal work. And in fact, in the moments where we really get down to the nitty gritty and prioritize letting go of these heavy things that have been keeping us held back for so long, we are actually able to take leaps and bounds and quantum leaps and quantum bounds forward. When if we were just focused on the physical world alone, we would be stuck standing in the same place. So I hope that this has inspired you to tackle whatever it is that is the thorn in your side, that is taking up your energy, keeping you in a mental prison. And I hope that you are able to find some sort of agreement with your guides of how long you're willing to do this. Give yourself that timeline, give yourself that space, and remember to have backup plans for what happens when you want to fixate on that thing, and allow the universe the time and the space to take it from you and just see what happens. Just have some faith, because remember, what you're doing right now isn't working. And I hope that that can be the most liberating thought of all in all of this is, well, what I'm doing now isn't working, so I might as well give this a shot. That is all that I have for you today. Thank you so much for being here with me. If you want to connect with me more, you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Katie in Mercury. I'll be here every week with the Starseed Coalition podcast episodes. And if you want to join the Starseed Coalition membership through Patreon, that gives you an extra piece of content that goes along with the episodes each week. So far we've had 2 Starseed activations, 1 channeled reading from last week. And again, this week's is an activation, a meditation to help you surrender on a spiritual soul level. So if that sings to your soul, that's in the show notes. You can go check it out. And until next time, keep going. You are doing amazing, and I love you.